the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program webinar. I'm going to continue right where Karen left off, and we're talking about character and personality. And I know many of you, this might be your first time coming to a Peaceful Solution class. It may be multiple times that you've come. And if you're like me, you were searching and wanting a change maybe in your life, maybe in your children's lives. Maybe you're a teacher and you want to help your students. Maybe in your business environment as an employee or an employer. And the reason that I got involved with the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program was because I saw the need to educate my sons in positive moral character, because I knew the things that I had faced as a child, and I saw the pattern that society was going in, and I didn't like it. And so, you know, searching around, as a mother, you want to do the best for your children, so you search around, and you try to see what can you implement in your children's lives so that you can get them to go in the right direction. Because there's a lot of influences today in society, and as Karen said, they're not positive. The TV, the radio, peer pressure, I mean, we turn on the peer pressure constantly. And so I came across the Peaceful Solution, and of course your eyes become open. And like Karen said, it works. It works. It does change the heart and the mind. And I had a laugh when you were teaching, because you were sitting here saying how you had the difference between your sisters, and you were the loud one, and then, well, I would be the quiet one. I was the one that they referred to as stuck up. But I said, no, I was just quiet. But there is differences. And then you go into school, you go into a work environment, and those differences with the personality can cause peer pressure. It can cause maybe you changing your values in order to fit in. And so there was a need. So we come across the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, and I'm going to be covering the Building Moral Excellence Character Unit. This is just one step above the intermediate unit, but what's so great about the Peaceful Solution books is that even the elementary series, an adult could pick up and still learn the difference between character and personality. And that's really the foundation of the Peaceful Solution, is what is the difference? Because how many of you have ever based your friendships or relationships on personality? Right? Personality. Wow, that person is really talkative, funny. I'm going to get around them. You know, if you're a quiet person, you probably go more towards the talkative people, right? Because they can do your talking. And maybe the quiet ones go towards the talkative ones. I don't want to say noisy. The talkative ones maybe gravitate towards the quiet ones because they get to talk all they want. But So the initial thing that you see is the personality. It's the outside. If you would look at an apple, it's the outside, but it's the inside that we really want to base all our relationships on. Because you get into this crowd situation, or maybe it's just a one-on-one friendship based on personality, and then you find out that person has some issues. Maybe you can all relate. You get involved in things that you normally wouldn't have gotten involved in. And that's what I did as a child. You want to fit in? You go with the crowd. They do things that you don't necessarily wouldn't have chose to do yourself, but hey, I want to fit in. So that's the change that I wanted to see for my children. I wanted them to make those right choices so that they wouldn't follow the crowd, and to stand up for what they had proven to be morally correct. But it's not taught. And if you have this book, but I'm going to be reading from Lesson 1, and I'm going to read from the note to the teacher, because it's not being taught right now in society. And that's what we as educators, as mothers, sisters, friends, whoever we are here sitting, we have to really take a stand and really promote this in our own lives, but try to promote it with everyone that we meet. But as human beings, we have a natural tendency to gravitate to others based on personality. People who appear joyful, friendly, approachable, and caring are likely to make friends quicker than those who are shy, withdrawn, or simply quiet. Although these qualities have their advantages, using them as the basis for forming relationships can be devastating if these persons do not have a sound character to support their personality. We live in a society where greater emphasis is placed on acquiring material possessions, right? Status, popularity, physical attraction than on the development of positive moral character traits like compassion and respect. And I'm sure you can all relate to, whether in your own life or maybe in a news article, just like the first teacher had said, where a child is different. Maybe they're more quiet. Maybe they have a physical handicap. Maybe they're a different skin color than the rest of the people around them. And they are looked at differently instead of seeing what qualities this person has inside. Consequently, our children are more likely to be impressed with qualities and behaviors that pertain to personality rather than character. We are therefore faced with a generation of children who are more likely to engage in risk-taking behavior, stealing or exacting revenge against authority and peers in order to improve their status among their friends and to fit in and be accepted. Can anyone tell me any recent thing that they've heard on the news about an instance where someone was trying to fit in and did something that was immoral? Any examples? Yes, right here.
At a local high school in Texas, they had a hazing incident where the group of football players, I guess it's some kind of an initiation, they all took in like beating the young man up until he was, I think, unconscious.
Yes, I heard that. Right, hazing, we've all heard that. She was talking about a recent hazing in Texas where it was to become a part of that sports team. They beat up on one another, right? To initiate them into that. I'll take one more.
I heard on the news as well in Texas about a officer who shot a double amputee man because they thought he had a weapon in his hand and all he had in his hand was a pen, and he cornered his partner.
Okay, right. So a policeman shot someone who only had a pen in his hand. But I would have to say that a lot of our correction officers are probably really afraid because of the fact that anyone and everyone pretty much carries a weapon these days, right? So there's a little bit of paranoia. All the more reason for peace and character education. So what is character and what is personality? You know, until we really understand that, I can't remember really hearing the word character until I learned about the Peaceful Solution. It was always about, oh, that person's got a great personality, right? So what is the difference? On page 6, character is the combination of morals and beliefs that dictates how we treat others, our environment, and ourselves. It is the basis on which our every thought, action, and decision is derived, and it is the means by which we distinguish between right and wrong. Personality is the combination of your personal preferences, attitudes, likes and dislikes, and social skills. For instance, the type of music you like to listen to, whether you like art or football, as well as countless other qualities, make up your personality. The process by which your character and personality is formed is similar in many ways. Some of these similarities include traits inherited from your parents, how and where you were raised, and experiences that have influenced you. So, as we have learned, that personality is our personal preferences, our likes and dislikes, but it's the character, it's our morals. And as we were taught earlier, both of these things can be changed by influences. And the key is that we want to take our character and make it into a positive moral character. In every thought that we have, in every action, every feeling, we want it to be moral. We need to stop, think, what are these options? How are we going to proceed? In today's society, it's fast-paced. Many people don't stop and think, okay, if I choose to do this, what is going to be the outcome? Automatically, they're upset about something, and they just fly off the handle, right? When I was younger, I worked as a cashier, and we were always taught the customer is always right. And even if that customer was rude, he or she was still right. And so you had to treat them that way. But sadly, sometimes I'll go into a store, I haven't even said one word to the cashier, and they already have this most horrible, rudest attitude towards me, as if I just stepped on their toe and didn't say I was sorry. And the customer is not always right these days. But people are rude. I mean, customers go in there and they're rude. They're just rude. But so it's that respect. And yes, society has the wrong thing that, if you have to give respect to get respect. No, we always should be giving that respect. And yes, if I treat you with respect, you're more than likely to treat me back with respect. But if you're not being respectful to me, I still have to be respectful to you. So, does anybody want to share maybe, without getting too personal, some relationship or friendship or instance where you based it on personality and you realized, hey, this is not the right way to go? Or maybe a story that you've heard. Not too personal. I don't want to hear too much personal stuff. Yes.
I remember I had a time when I had a friend, and I thought she was the best friend, and I would call her one day, let's say I was feeling down, and I would call her, and I'd say hello, and she'd say hello, and she'd run for the next 20 minutes, talking nonstop about her day, about what went right, about what went wrong. She never said, hi, how are you? I called her, so when somebody calls me, I say, hi, how are you? Because they called me, so there's a reason they called. And after about 20 minutes of hearing up and down, it's like, phew, I'm glad I'm not going through that. Well, I gotta go. So I'd hang up and not get what I wanted to talk about out at all. And after a while of doing that, year after year, it's like, that's not really a friendship. This isn't reciprocal. I'm just taking her load and going on. So quickly, that wasn't a respectful situation, so I had to end that.
Okay, great. Thank you. I want to share one thing that really affected me when I learned about the Peaceful Solution and really studied these books. When I was young, I was bullied. And growing up, it's like, well, if you've been bullied, you've been bullied, right? And so I always looked at myself as that victim. But as I learned about the Peaceful Solution, all of a sudden one day I realized, hey now, you bullied people. And that was like a very emotional eye-opener to me because, as a child or as an adult, if you're bullied, that's what you see. But so many times you realize, hey, the things that I did to this person, I bullied them. Maybe it wasn't that physical thing that maybe left a scar from a physical person that bullied you, but the emotional scars can be just as bad as the physical. So, that's why it's so important that we watch everything that we speak to one another and that we take on those positive character traits that we all talked about earlier in the first portion of the class and make that a part of our everyday interaction, whether it's with you who I've known for so many years or whether it's with you that I just met. Those positive character traits have to be in our interaction. And so, we can all look back at things that we would have liked to have changed. can't go back and change them, right? But we can change what we do today. We can change what we do tomorrow. And that's why it's so important that we take hold, just like one of the participants said today, steadfastness she was talking about, that we would learn this and we would apply it to ourselves, and then that we would go out and teach it to others, so that maybe we could be a part of bringing peace to this entire world. Because we don't live in a peaceful world, right? We are afraid to go out of our homes sometimes. Sometimes we may be afraid to stay in our homes, depending on the neighborhood that we live in. We constantly have the threat of war. The United States is constantly sending our young men and women to other countries to participate in war. So we don't live in a peaceful environment. Our children go to school where they should feel safe, where they should want to learn and be educated. And I couldn't imagine how much bullying goes on in school right now, because that's all you hear about. And we know that we only hear a portion of what's really taking place, because many of the children that are bullied don't ever say anything. You don't hear being bullied until maybe they've taken their life, or maybe they've gone in and retaliated with that gun. So, we live in that society, and we should all want to be a part of that difference. So I'm going to just briefly cover what the first teacher taught about how morality can be to three basic categories. And we know that morals are very important to character. And reading again on page 6, one of the key factors that separates and distinguishes character from personality is called moral principles. In general, moral or ethical principles are universal. In other words, people from all over the world would agree with them and uphold them. So we should all agree with that. 99.9% of people feel that life is valuable. Yes, they may not feel that you being a different color than me is valuable, but they still feel that life is valuable. So moral principles to human life means acknowledging and accepting that life is valuable and that all people have the potential to contribute to society. And then number 2, behaving morally regarding the possessions, property of others, means to recognize that everyone owns things and that there are inherent rights of ownership. And number 3, moral principles can also be applied to the environment and how we care for it. Peaceful Solution says life is precious, handled with morality. And so what are some of the things, how can we apply that as far as our acknowledging and accepting that life is valuable? What are some of the things that we would see changed if everyone practiced having positive moral character? Anybody want to answer over here? Okay.
We wouldn't see the shootings, in a movie theater, because that man would have valued all the lives of those people there, and he wouldn't have done what he did.
Right. Yes, that's true. Because he didn't even know those people, right? But he would have valued their lives. And even though he was upset about whatever he was upset about, he would have said, no, I can't go and do this. Yes?
I was thinking, they go to different countries, but in the Middle East, it's just as valuable as an American soldier's life. And we will see a completion of ending of all war.
Yes. That is something that we should all be looking for, is that ending to all war. Because think about these young, I know they were saying, the war in Afghanistan, I think they pulled out all the troops, but there's still soldiers dying over there. Yes, one more?
The life of the children would be respected instead of having them being harmed emotionally, physically, or sexually.
Yes. And that's one more thing that we know by reading the Peaceful Solution is the ripple effect, right? So we have this child that was harmed. They grow up and they become a bully or they become an abuser, and the cycle continues. What are some of the changes that we would see in society today if we were practicing the Peaceful Solution? Yes?
vandalism. People wouldn't be going out vandalizing personal properties of other people.
Yes, vandalism. You can't go anywhere without seeing something spray painted somewhere, right? A train passes full of graffiti. Yes.
And along with that would be the locks. We have locks of 2 and 3 locks on doors and cars and methods that are very difficult to live with.
Right, yes. We would have to see, less locks. I was reading the other day, this little thing said, my friend has 6 locks on the door, and she locks 3 of them and leaves the other 3 unlocked because the burglars then, when they're trying to unlock, will automatically lock the 3 that were unlocked. But it's probably true because we know that the locks still don't keep the burglars out, right? But that was just that's a sad thing to think about. Yes.
There wouldn't be trespass, but it was kind of a scary situation.
Right.
And I live by myself, so I thought, what's going on here? Anyway, what have I got that they would want, Trespass.
Right, so we'd see the end to the trespassing, right? Because we should be able to feel safe in our own homes. We should be able to feel safe if we have to go take a bus somewhere. We should feel safe to be able to go to the grocery. The other day I had to go to the Social Security office, and there's about 30 people sitting in the waiting area, and over in the corner is the mean-looking security guard. And I was sitting there, and I was with my son, and I said, man, that security guard really needs a peaceful solution, because he just was like, he just had this mean look on his face, like, better not mess with me. And my son said, well, they have to look intimidating so that no one will try anything. And I said, well, what about people that wouldn't try anything? I'm afraid of the security man. But as I was sitting there, I was thinking, because that shooting had just taken place in the theater, and I was sitting there, and there was only one door in and out of the Social Security office, and I was sitting here thinking, what if one of these people got upset because the clerk wasn't helping them get their Social Security, because we know there's problems with Social Security, and what if they just kind of flipped out? A couple of years ago, I might not have thought about that, but everything on the news, this gunman went in here, this gunman went in here. So the whole time you're sitting there trying to take care of your business, you're thinking, at any minute, any of these people could get upset and pull out a gun, right? It's just not a comfortable feeling. Yes?
Along with that, it's so much more aware of my surroundings. Like when I go to park someplace, I won't park by anybody that looks kind of shady. I hate to say, but because it just makes you more aware.
Right. We do have to be aware. I know a friend of mine, she would go with her friend to the park at her lunch hour, and she would go walking. Well, one day they went walking, and she came back, and her car had been broken into. So her purse and everything, so then she had to go through the bank. She had to go get new Social Security card, new driver's license. I mean, it was just a very big hassle. There wasn't a lot of money in there, but it was just a hassle for her. And then her sense of security was taken away. Moral principles applying to the environment. Peaceful solution. What are some of the changes that we would see with the environment?
Healthy produce.
Yes, healthy produce. Yes, that's a great one. Yes.
We wouldn't have to worry about animals getting hurt or reproducing and getting extinct or anything like that, because people would be taking care of the environment for the animals.
Yes, we wouldn't see the things that are going on with the animals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also with that, we're not trained in different. We don't know, but it can also kill animals when people don't pick up the other animal waste. Other animals, waste can actually kill another animal, and people don't know that, and they should keep the environment clean. It's your responsibility to pick up your pet.
Right.
Your pet's waste.
Right. Yes.
It will kill another animal.
Yes. Yes. So we're going to just review before we end what we've learned today. And we need to remember that we can't just come to a webinar. We can't just come to a workshop learn this, hear it, and not act upon it, because we see that occurring. And we really need to try to, if there's any way we can for our own self in our own community, is to try to get this in our school system. Try to get this in the prison systems. Because I've been able to see some of the testimonies from men, women that are in the prison system, that the peaceful solution has really changed their life, you know? But let's remember, morality is the key in developing a positive character. And there is a clear distinction between character and personality. So now that we understand what personality and character is, we need to be basing all of our friendships, any relationship that we have, on character. Yes, when we're in the workplace, we may not have a choice of who we get to work with. But we do have a choice of whether we want to be friends with that person, just like all the positive character traits, respectful, reliable, with these people. But if they do not have a positive character, we don't have to, when we clock out, continue to go out with these people. And maybe if we were practicing the peaceful solution around them, they would be like, hey, you know, tell me what you've been doing. My character is at the root of all my choices and actions. It is what separates positive from negative behavior. It can be inherited traits and other influences in a person's life. We can't change the things that we've inherited. As children, we can't change the parents that we had. So some of these influences we can't change, but as we grow older, we definitely can choose some of those influences. Just like I said, at work, we may not be able to say that we don't want to work with this person next to us. When we go home, though, we don't have to be with that person next to us. So there are some influences that we can remove from our life. If we feel like they are not benefiting us as far as a positive character, then we need to really change those influences. We get influenced right now by TV, by social media. We know the internet has the World Wide Web at your fingertips, any kind of influence on there. So we need to make sure of what we are choosing, that it's positive. So look for what a person really is on the inside, not just the outside. And if that's one thing that you take away today, is to know that character and personality, there is a big difference. And we want to base our relationships on a positive character. I thank you for coming, and continue to come to the next class tomorrow.